I'm going to do a little bit different than the general did, because, you know, he's an officer about as high as you can go, and I'm just a little old enlisted guy.
As high as you go.
Are there any questions right now? I'd like to wake everybody up. I know, you know, this really relaxing time. Any questions? Anything? I don't care what it is. And don't be bashful,
Yeah.
and don't think it'll be off the wall.
Are you buying lunch?
No, sir. Not for class. No, I thought you would do that.
Stacy,
But really,
why don't you start with one of yours that was a good
Right.
question.
I see your list here.
Stacy, you start with yours.
Is this Alexis?
No.
Oh,
Want me to go first?
oh, okay. Sure. Go ahead.
11th grade.
And what's your name?
Stacy.
Jason?
Stacy.
Stacy. Okay. Stacy.
Why don't you explain what you want to do when you graduate high school?
Right. Yeah. Tell me.
I want to go to college for management business.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, you know, in most colleges, just for your information, are you aware of the Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps program? Junior ROTC is like joining the military.
I know what that is.
Now, did you also know that as a JROTC student, that they give college grants to help pay for tuition? You do know that? Okay, I want to plant that seed because a lot of you should consider that, because it doesn't mean just because you go to JROTC and when you get out that you have to go in the military. It's not mandatory. So think about this. Unless you got a lot of cash floating around home, you don't mind paying for the school. Anyhow, go ahead, Stacey.
The Guard has always had the dual role to contribute to our nation's defense as well as responding to state emergency. What's the danger of hurting our ability to effectively respond to state emergency if we have too many soldiers deployed?
Okay, that's a fairly simple mathematical question. The National Guard in South Carolina now has, the last figure I heard was a little over 9,000 members. Okay, the Army is now formed in units called brigades and divisions. We don't have a division here, but we have, I think, 3 brigades in the state. Each brigade has about 3,000 people, and that's broken down into smaller units. The active duty military, the federal government, has been cut so much in the last 10 years that the National Guard units of the country have been called to active duty to go to Iraq and Afghanistan. I know firsthand of a Marine Reserve unit at Fort Jackson because my youngest grandson is a full-time active duty advisor to that unit. And you have to write this down. I mean, it's okay, you can do it. But 3 weeks ago I found out that he and his unit are going to Morocco. You know where Morocco is? Anybody got an idea? Morocco is a nation in Africa. Now, what are we doing in Africa, or what are we not doing according to the news? Well, it started out, all we were doing was trying to help out rebels in a country called Libya, who is one of the largest oil producers in the world. And now I think yesterday, either accidentally or on purpose, the presidential conference building got bombed by somebody in NATO, North American Atlantic Treaty Organization. But anyhow, to get back to your story about the National Guard, our National Guard here in South Carolina in the last 4 years has probably had, on an average, over 1,000 people a year in Afghanistan or Iraq. Now, suppose, let's say the dam at Lake Jocassee breaks. Anybody know where Lake Jocassee is? Right up in the foothills above Clemson University. If that dam should break, the next dam down is Lake Keowee. The surge of water from Jocassee would overrun Keowee. And it's just like a rolling stone. It would go all the way down the river. And that river happens to run right by Columbia. That's what we use the National Guard for, is disasters. If we've got 1/3 of our National Guard people serving around the world, fighting what is really a federal responsibility. What do we do when we have a disaster here, we run out of people in the National Guard? To call them from their jobs, their homes, their families, and have them put on 24-hour-a-day duty helping clean up the disaster. Well, that's where, and not a plug for the State Guard, but that's where, because we are volunteers and most of us have the ability to leave our jobs, our homes, and that, we can act as a small, very small fill-in for the National Guard. But to answer your question, we have too many people deployed from our National Guard unit. We cannot bring other National Guards from other states in to help us if we have a problem. We can, but it takes a lot of red tape, a lot of paperwork. So, does that answer your question, Stacy?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay, all right. Who's going to be next? Come on, let me see somebody raise their hand. Okay, go ahead.
My name's Megan, and after high school, and after high school, I want to go to college for either law or psychology.
Mhm.
Okay, it's our state's obligation to fully support our troops both on the battlefield and when they return to civilian life. What should we do to fully honor this commitment?
Well, one of the best, really, morale-boosting things you can do is fairly often, especially here in Columbia, if the National Guard is activated and they deploy, they will get on a commercial charter airline at Columbia Airport. And usually that'll be in the paper, there'll be a write-up about their leaving and when they're going to leave. And if you guys can go to the airport, I know it's a pain, the parking and all that other junk, but just go in, and you can also call the National Guard Armory or headquarters in Columbia and find out when they're departing. And say, look, I have a group of students from high school who would like to go out with me. We wish our departing National Guardsmen that they have a good trip, and they come home safe and everything. That is such, you don't know, being in the military, what it's like to have civilians stand at an airport, shake your hand, say welcome home. It's going to choke me up because I've been there. That means so much to everybody that's ever said. And they, I mean, you can, there are things you can do. I forget what it is. There's stuff you can email them. You can send them cards. There's the Red Cross in Columbia, I know, has an address where you can mail cards. Just go to the 113th, 118th National Guard unit in Afghanistan. They take them over there and they pass them out to the guys. So they have a little word from home that the folks at home know what they're doing and really appreciate it. So that, to me, I mean, we don't buy war bonds anymore, any of that junk, but if you were there or when they return, a lot of times their return is announced also. That's what really makes them feel good. Because then you see the wives and the children and that. And of course the husbands, because we have a lot of women, females that are in the National Guard. And they go too. It's, we're very unbiased now. When they activate a unit, everybody goes unless they have a medical problem. Does that answer it?
Yes,
I mean,
it
that's what I would think of, what I would want to see if I was getting off the plane. I'd love to see a bunch of people there waving flags and signs, welcome home.